Welcome back to the Blueprints Brocast here. I'm Austin Tokar.
And I'm Jay Cruz.
And today we're going to talk about
small things, like little tiny things that we do to be better productive, be better, have a more constructive day. So I'm first or you first?
Why don't you start this one out?
All right. So I'm trying to keep it simple because I want things that people can do themselves. And if you've ever seen any of the YouTube videos that I have, obviously if you're watching this one, you have, but any of the ones that I do in the gym, you see that the gym is always clean. And the reason why I have it clean is so that when I go in to do a workout, I'm not trying to put away the previous equipment so that I can just get into my workout. So it's always clean. So when I work out, it's very efficient. I can work out and not worry about cleaning because I cleaned up from the previous one, so I can just get into my workout.
Rack your weights.
Yep, re-rack your weights, man. That's one of the awesome things about having your own home gym. You don't have to re-rack weights after someone else, unless my kids are in there.
You should just put up a sign anyway.
Yeah.
Rack your weights.
Yeah, because they'll do that crap, man. They'll lift and then they'll just leave it everywhere.
Yeah.
But I'd rather them lift and leave it everywhere than not lift at all.
Yeah.
But I need to apply that, or I have applied that to other areas of my life. So one of those things, when I used to work in an office, I always had a clean desk, not just because my bosses would come around every once in a while, like the regional managers would come around like every 3 months or so and check out our operation. So I wanted a clean desk, but I remember that made me efficient because I knew where everything was and everything was put away. So for me, the desk kind of represents where your mindset is at. And if you have a cluttered desk, your mind is also cluttered. So the inverse is true also. When my desk is clean, my mind is clear, and I know where stuff is at. I'm more efficient. I know where I put things away. I know exactly where things are at. Usually when we do a video shoot, all of the equipment ends up on the desk and it's all over the place. And so if I need to do another shoot, did I put this on the charger? Is that ready? Is this card already downloaded? Like all these things my mind goes through before I start the next shoot. Mm-hmm. But if it's already cleaned and all taken care of, then I can just jump right into the next shoot the same way I just jump into a workout. So.
Yeah. Really easy, smoother transition.
Yep.
Yeah.
What you got?
I think for me, my biggest thing is like I have a real issue with playing on my phone a lot. Just like mental distractions throughout the day. Definitely started when, I got my first phone in high school. It's like playing on that. You know how it is, hormones and just messing around on there.
What does hormones have to do with using your phone?
Hormones the answer to everything. I think for me, it's been more of a distraction point, and I'd say like the past 2 years from where I want to be, it's taken away from that. So recently, what I've been doing, and what I noticed a lot of people who I know are very busy, my coach Justin doesn't. He'll make jokes about that sometimes, but I started putting my phone on do not disturb, or airplane mode, but most of the time it's do not disturb. Reason being is that, I really want to get into deep work. If I'm focused on something, I can get really, really into it, not be distracted by the phone. You shouldn't be looking at it anyway, but it just removes the distraction even more so. I think the only person that really gets through on there is going to be Faith. Yeah, just got to make sure she's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
But so there's no reason to be on your phone. There's no reason to be answering people while you're trying to get work done. Even put it to the side without do not disturb, it still kind of distracts you. You want to look at it, you want to break it open. But if you see that little icon that says, on do not disturb mode, you put it back down,
Yeah.
Because it's going to keep you back in the moment there.
Yeah. I've been doing that only it's like at 10:15 at night to 6 in the morning. So that's the time I usually I'm trying to sleep.
Yeah.
So I don't want anything buzzing through and waking me up. Yeah. So I have it for that, but that's a good tip because I think that I can tend to get distracted the same way. I've actually done something similar to that. It's just limiting my screen time and like making more intentional time with anything that's a screen, whether it be on my phone, on my computer, or a TV. I make sure that like I'm not just aimlessly scrolling or just aimlessly like either playing a video game or Netflixing. I guess that's a word now. I just made it up.
Let's go.
Yeah. not doing any of that stuff. And if I am doing it, that's intentional. Like I'm watching like a movie with my kids, or I'm watching some sort of YouTube for like an instructional, I'm learning something. And then if I am going to scroll, it'll be, the typical, like, hey, I'm using the bathroom. Like I'll scroll then, or like,
isn't that crazy though? It went from magazines to phones.
Yeah. I mean, I would rather the phone, because at least you can wash the phone off, but a magazine, it just sits there and it never gets washed.
Man, it might have even been wiped a few times,
I remember Dad had the Popular Mechanics or Popular Science magazines in there. And I never
had a stack of
a stack of them. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing, just so that I'm not just like 3 hours have gone by and I'm like, oh shoot, I was supposed to do this, or I was supposed to do that, and you don't get to it, and then you're like, the whole day's sometimes it's not gone, but it's messed up to the point where I just feel like, well, might as well just keep messing around today, because I already wasted so much of the day.
Or even you're just thinking about, man, I wasted 2 hours, and that's on your mind for the next hour, and you're like, man, I wasted 3 hours now.
Yeah, it just cascades and you just get worse and worse. So
yeah. Another thing for me is that I recently just started kind of planning out my next day a little bit more. Doesn't have to be exact, but I do have a set planner of like, hey, I'm going to do this at this time, this at that time, and it kind of removes the disorganized factor for that day. I usually look at my notes app very often just to refer to things every so often, so it's something that's a usual thing for me anyway to be on that notes app. But it's everything's kind of disorganized right now. We're still finding our permanent spot in Texas, so been moving from an apartment to Airbnb to now a permanent spot. So things are definitely hectic day to day. But with that, I can at least kind of plan out my day, how it's going to look, and semi stick to that routine. But if it falls off slightly, it's not a big deal. But I do have a organizer, laid out.
Yeah, mine is similar. My third one is kind of similar to that, but I think it's more simple for me, because if I write too many things down, then it's too big of a task for the next day. So at night, I'll just write three things. Yeah. Okay, so here's the 3 things I want to accomplish the next day, and if I accomplish those things within a day and I have more time, then I'll add another thing. So that's not like the normal task that you would do. Like for me, I'll take kids to practice, or hey, do this like specific thing that I do every single day. None of the routine things. Yeah. This is like, hey, new things that I need to do, and things that I need to, like, whether it be edit the podcast or edit a YouTube video or do a review video, whatever it is. Those things I'll write down, because those are like while it's routine, those are things I need to do in order to continue with business. Like you have to have something where you are always striving for better. I should start doing that, I guess, physical wise, like with workouts, like add one thing. So like I have a regular routine, but adding just like one extra thing, whether it be like, so I've been good at doing some sort of like cardio, whether it be walking in the morning, at night, but like stretching is like, all the memes where like the cardio person or the stretching person's like, well, what about me? You lifted, but what about me? I think stretching is the one that, especially as I get older, it's like, I need to do it more and more and more. Like you need to do it more rather than less.
Final point for me, I'd say, is getting up and taking walks every now and then throughout the day. Right now I set up like 5 different times around the day where I get up and walk. I don't have to do all 5, but I do have these times where I'm like, okay, this is the time I would normally walk. But it's mostly like to get out of the environment into a different environment and then come back to that original environment. So a lot of the times, like, you just can't focus. Like, you've been on something too long. You need to pull away from it. For me, it's easy to just go out and walk like 1,000 steps, 10 minutes outside, and then come back to it right after, or eat something right after that. But it's kind of like when they say when you're trying to sleep, but you just can't, like, you just like, oh shoot, I just cannot sleep here. They say, don't just try to force it. Just get up out of the environment, move a little bit, get into another environment, and then come back to it and try to go to sleep again. So it's kind of like a similar thing. You can be a little bit more productive than trying to force like whatever you were doing.
Okay, so those are 3 things that we've done to make our days more productive. What is one thing that you feel like right at the top of your head, that you need to do? Just one thing that you feel like you need to do.
I think I need to double down on a little bit more of a schedule with things. So like the running out the schedule for the next day, that's fairly new to me. So it's like I'm going from sporadic to a little bit more controlled kind of scenario. So I think that's just an area I need to double down on and like, plan that day ahead, get it more under controlled. And, it is hard to do. I'm not going to BS or anything. It's hard to do with, not having like a permanent residency for the moment. Because you're always thinking about like, oh shoot, this is like some other person's place. This isn't our actual home, so this kind of like adds to it, but not using it as an excuse, but it makes it a lot easier when you have a spot where like, okay, this is my spot. This is where I come back to every day. And then I can kind of plan out the next days and you don't have to worry about that one other thing.
Yeah. So to let you guys know a little bit more background on what Austin's talking about is he just moved here about 2 months ago, maybe almost 3. And they've been displaced from the place that was supposed to be guaranteed for a certain amount of time. So they got displaced from there.
It's a sublease.
Yeah. So now they're in
Airbnb up.
Yeah.
Airbnb it up.
Nice.
Netflixing it up, Airbnb up. It's all good.
Yeah. Another temporary spot. So
yeah.
It's hard. Like I said, even with my desk. So this is my desk. I get to clean it. I get to deal with that. But you're in a space where you can't claim it as your own and you don't know what's up from the next day, from one day to the next. So it's kind of haphazard and up in the air. So I get organization in that area. You have to be super hyper focused to stay on it.
Yeah. People take for granted having a space of your own.
Yeah.
It's like you don't really think about that until you actually lose it.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, oh shoot, well, I have no home. It's not your home,
Yeah. One of the worst places for me is if I have a laptop and I go on a trip and I think I'm going to work in a hotel.
Nah.
It's the hardest thing to do because it's like, this isn't my space. Even though I'm going to just do work on the computer, like it's just not my space. And I'm not like you said, you have to be in a certain environment to be productive. And if I get out of that environment and I'm somewhere else completely, it's just like, I don't know how to get into my zone because
I think being at a hotel kind of correlates vacation time though.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I'm here on vacation or something. Like, I think that was the whole thing. Like if you ever, as a kid growing up, the only time you ever go to a hotel is like on vacation or on some sort of, fun trip. You kind of correlate it to that.
Yeah.
That mindset stays with you. So maybe a coffee shop would be something to do.
Yeah, I probably could do a coffee shop. So I have 4 kids at home and kind of the hustle and bustle is like my normal thing, like things always moving. So if it's quiet, like that actually doesn't work for me. I used to work in an office that had like 40 people in it at any given time. So or when I was working at the church, there's people around all the time. There's people coming in. And so I'm used to like distractions and being hyper focused because there's distractions. But when there's no distraction and like us growing up in a house that's a 900 square foot home with 8 people in it, used to being in close quarters with people, when I have no one around and it's just by myself, I get like, okay, no one's here.
It's kind of creepy, man. You just never know who's behind you. It's too quiet in here.
Yeah, it's too quiet. So I don't get anything done because I'm used to like zoning everything else out and being honed in, where other people are the opposite way, My last thing I would say is sleep. Like I don't sleep, and it's not because I don't want to sleep or anything like that, or I can't sleep. It's just I just don't sleep. I don't fall asleep until, like 11 o'clock. Maybe 12 o'clock sometimes, but I get up at 6 no matter what. So I can go to sleep at 9, I get up at 6. I can go to sleep at 1 in the morning, I get up at 6. So I need to start being better about not just going to bed at 10, but like being in bed, already showered, I'm in bed. I'm like, time for lights to go out and go to sleep because I need to get closer to the 8 hours because I just don't get it because my circadian rhythm clock says 6 o'clock is my time to get up. So.
Yeah. You built that in you, like, 6 a.m. I'm getting up. But then you just got to build in a new method for your night routine, Maybe turn off all lights, all electronics, everything.
Yeah, that's the other thing about the whole screen time thing. I just had to like not look at it come like 9:30, somewhere around there. Like, so like I have a half an hour where I'm not looking at a screen. But it's hard. Like if you've already built a rhythm or a rut that you want to get out of, or a habit of looking at it for whatever reason, whether it be checking stats or whatever it is.
Yeah, I think a big thing for people, if you want to get into something, do something new and be really good at it, you have to prime yourself for it. So like in training, you could take pre-workout, whatever, you're sitting in your car for like 10 minutes, like you in a sense, you're priming yourself for the workout. You're getting ready. You're getting in that headspace. Same thing for sleep. You got to get in that headspace. Like, okay, lights off. I'm going to shut everything down. I'm going to start chilling a little bit more. Anything that does work to chill you out for bed.
Yeah. Well, guys, this was a quick one. We just wanted to give you guys 3 tips that or 3 pointers or just habits that we've created in order to make our days more productive. Hopefully these help for you guys. If you guys have tips for us or for any other viewers, put them down in the comments, because I know that people are always looking for really easy things to do to make their days more productive.
All right, we're signing out.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. If you want to be a better supporter of us, keep listening, but also recommend us to somebody else, like videos, and like the podcast. So appreciate you guys. Appreciate all your support. We'll see you. You'll hear us in the next one.